All right, guys. So Joy Behar of the Liberal View has made yet again another ridiculous claim, and this time they're discussing the vaccine, right, and how to get people who have not taken the vaccine to actually take the vaccine. How do you get them to take it, right? And they're discussing using fear as a tactic to make people get the vaccine, to convince them to get it. Now, Miss Joy Behar is going to make a really ridiculous claim regarding black people in vaccine hesitancy versus white people who have already received the vaccine. But before I get into that, I have to give my disclaimer here. I'm not making any claims about the vaccine, the virus, the mask, the pandemic. I'm not making any claims whatsoever. If you have any questions about the vaccine, the mask, the pandemic, the virus, if you have any questions whatsoever, please consult your doctor. Please consult your medical professional. This conversation is about public policy and purely about public policy only. So without further ado, let's roll the clip of The View discussing this subject.
Recommend everybody to get the vaccines and really protect themselves, because this is no joke.
So will these scare tactics work on people to get the shot, or you think their minds are already made up not to get the shot?
I think it absolutely will help. Polling from Kaiser found that knowing someone who became seriously ill from COVID or died from the virus are among the most powerful factors motivating that vaccine hesitant people. And it reminds me of the days when you learned how to drive with the drunk driving, when they leave an accident out, or they'd show you those videos of texting when you're driving, also smoking commercials, the PSAs. And you can't unsee those, and they grip you from the inside. I think this will absolutely help.
Well, two things. One, they should show it on Fox News, Target advertising. Show it on Hannity's show and Tucker's, and let those people who are trying to own the libs see what will happen if they don't get it. But there's something interesting that's going on. I was reading that a lot of people, they don't take the vaccine because they're afraid of the vaccine. Yeah. Now they're going to be afraid of not taking the vaccine. The question is, which fear will win?
I agree. I think the fear factor always works, right? Like scared straight. Yeah. I remember growing up. Remember the woman Terry who had the voice, her larynx removed?
Yeah.
And she would speak through the voice box.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just never forget that. I also remember the ad campaign. This is your brain.
On
this
drugs,
is your brain on drugs with the egg on the street frying. Yeah. That works. Fear works, unfortunately. And I was shocked to learn that 44% of Americans haven't taken the vaccine. That's almost half of the country.
Look, the problem here in America is plain and simple. It got politicized. COVID, wearing masks, the vaccine got politicized early, and it has completely tainted the debate.
But how do they get through to people who, like the black audience, for instance, the African-American community, who has been burnt in the past by the Tuskegee experiment and by things coming out that have harmed them? I don't blame that community for being skittish about it. But I say that so many white people have gotten it now. The experiment has been done on white people now.
Although the black community, I have read, the vaccine hesitancy is lower, and the black community is now being vaccinated at a higher rate than any other community in the country.
Well, there's progress.
Look, I think they should highlight the black scientists that have worked on this vaccine.
Yes, the woman who created it.
And I think you're right. Who were the first people jumping the line, flying all over the country to get the vaccine? Rich, white people of privilege.
That's right.
And Republican donors.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, there's a whole lot to kind of break down there, right? But the first thing I'm going to start with is the overall conversation, what the overall conversation is about. It's about, is fear a tactic that will work? And I'm going to say unequivocally, fear is not a tactic that will work, okay? Because all the examples they cited in terms of, showing that somebody, had throat surgery or lost their larynx or whatever because of, smoking, people still smoke, right? People still choose to smoke knowing that smoking can cause lung cancer. They still choose to do it. Now, are a lot less people smoking? Yes, right? Because of that, because they don't want to get that. However, is that going to make it so everybody stops smoking? No, there are some people that just assume the risk. They know the risk and like, you know what? I would rather do this. Same thing with drugs, right? Dare to be different. That campaign in school, I went through that. That never worked, right? It never worked. Okay. Like, people still choose to do drugs regardless because, yes, we all understand the risk. We know the risk, and they chose to do it anyways, right? Because people have autonomy over their bodies, right? So the question of whether or not fear is going to work, it's not going to work. And that's something that they've already used, right? The Biden administration has already used that. They've already pushed that tactic out there. And hey, this is where we're at today. So again, what they're saying here about fear, I don't agree with that. And then on top of that, Joy Behar, you see how she starts to talk about how, well, you need to play this on Fox News. Put it on Fox News. Put it in these conservative channels, right? And I love how when talking about conservatives and white people when it comes to vaccine hesitancy, you frame that as if, well, these people are anti-vaxxers, right? That's what the liberal media does. But when Joy Behar moves to talking about black people and black people and their vaccine hesitancy, it's like, well, I understand that, right? I understand that. That's understandable because of history, okay? And then she goes on to make the claim, well, even though, we have all this history here, right, in terms of why black people may or may not be vaccine hesitant, you guys got to understand, white people have took it, right? White people have took the vaccine. So therefore, there's nothing to be afraid of because white people took it. And I found this claim to be so interesting from her, especially considering how last year, when the vaccines were in development and Trump was in office, Joy Behar came up with all kinds of reasons that didn't have anything to do with race in regards to why she is vaccine hesitant. Take a look.
In a rally in North Carolina last night, who still says it's just around the corner. Take a look.
Under Operation Warp Speed, we're producing a vaccine in record time. This is a vaccine that we're going to have very soon, very, very soon, by the end of the year, but much sooner than that, perhaps. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, rated the most liberal, are undermining science and risking countless lives with their reckless anti-vaccine rhetoric. That's what they're talking about.
Well, I can just laugh when I hear him talk. A joint statement from 9 pharmaceutical company CEOs said they will not seek approval until advanced clinical trials prove a vaccine is safe and effective. So, what is your take on all of this, Joy?
Okay, as far as the vaccine is concerned, I'd like to inform America, in case we don't know this, because I looked all this up for you. The mumps vaccine took 4 years. The polio vaccine took 20 years. And the smallpox vaccine took a few centuries. It was developed initially in 1796, so they started to think about it, and it became useful in the 1950s. Okay? It is not a simple thing to do. He will push anything to get reelected. Don't fall for it. And by the way, I will take the vaccine after Ivanka takes it.
Okay. Well, what about you, Sonny?
My concern, Whoopi, is with the FDA approval, because we know that the FDA is not an independent group. It's actually part of Health and Human Services, and that is part of the executive branch. And so there's evidence that the FDA has been politicized.
Now, when it comes around, Sarah, are you one who feels that, when they've made it safe and available, you might try it?
Yeah, when it's properly vetted and tested and it gets to breathe a minute. Again, after the election, the earliest I think I would look at something like this is 2021. But I think it's an important distinction to make between anti-vaxxers and people who won't take the vaccine yet. Because I don't even get new technology because I'm worried about the first round of glitches. So I think you allow it to kind of run its course, be tested properly and in a timely manner, and then you allow the most vulnerable among us to take it first. But when that is all done, I will absolutely take a vaccine.
I think you're right. I think once they've tested it out, and certainly after he's given it to his family, then I'll see how I feel about giving it to mine.
Guys, I wish I could play the whole clip because all these women look like fools from that one clip that I had, but I'm trying to keep the video as short as possible. But in summary, before I get into what Joy Behar was saying, Sunny Holston was talking about how, well, the FDA is politicized. So, I'm worried about FDA approval. Again, keep in mind, this was back in September of 2020, right? So it was just a year ago. Okay. So now all of a sudden under Biden, oh, the FDA is not politicized anymore. That's not an issue anymore. Okay. So Whoopi asked Sarah Haynes, I believe her name is, would she take the vaccine, right, at the time? And Sarah Haynes was like, listen, she gave a pretty reasonable answer. She says, well, there's a difference between, being anti-vax and, not wanting to take it because you want some time to pass, see how it goes, and then make an informed decision. And Whoopi says, yeah, I agree with that, right? I agree with that. I think I'm going to let everybody else take it first, make some time go past, and then, I'll decide what I'm going to do, right? So they said this last year when Trump was in office. Again, this was literally just 1 year ago. And Joy Behar literally outlined in that same clip how long it takes for vaccines to be developed traditionally, right? Traditionally speaking. That's what she's saying. But it's just been 1 year. And now all of a sudden, if you're still in the wait and see camp, there's no excuse anymore, right? You're either worried for no reason or you're an anti-vaxxer, right? It depends on your race, right? It depends on your race. If you're black, then, hey, you're being paranoid. If you're white, then you're anti-vaxxer. And I also find it hilarious how anytime you talk about black people and the vaccine hesitancy there, right? Joy Behar being a white liberal, she has to use kid gloves, right? She's not going to call them anti-vaxxers. What the media does is they get prominent black figures in the media like Joy Reid, Don Lemon, Whoopi Goldberg here to go after those black people who are not necessarily falling in line, right? For example, when Whoopi Goldberg went after LeBron James, right, essentially telling him to shut up and dribble just because he said that, hey, it's a choice. Again, I just find it hilarious how you see that the white liberal is quick to go after other white people, right, that are conservative and say they're anti-vaxxers, but they'll use kid gloves when talking about black people, and then they will use the black people, right, the black liberals, to go after black people who are still vaccine hesitant, right? It's pretty hilarious how that works. And again, guys, keep in mind, I'm not making any claims here, right? I'm not making claims about the vaccine. I recommend people talk to their doctors and, make the best health choices for you, right? That's what I recommend. But again, I just have to call out the liberal hypocrisy here because just that clip that I showed, guys, it's no doubt in my mind that these same people, if Trump was currently in office, they would be the most vaccine hesitant people in this country, right? That's what blows my mind about demonizing people who have taken a wait and see approach, okay? Because these same people were essentially advocating for that under Trump, right? When Trump was going out there and saying, trust the science. Hey, we're working with the best scientists in the world, the best pharmaceutical companies in the world to get this vaccine out here. It is, safe. It's going to be effective. We're going to make it work. We're going to help stop this. We're taking this thing serious. No, he didn't get the benefit of the doubt, right? They put doubts and fears in people's minds based off the fact that, well, Trump is in office, guys. So, hey, I don't know. Right? Even though the man is not personally developing the vaccine, he's just mobilizing the resources to help for development. That's what he did. Right? But they went out there and made it political. They made it political at the cost of people's lives. And then they want to come out here 1 year later and demonize people who basically are doing exactly what they advocated for just 1 year ago. It blows my mind, man. It blows my mind. And see, this is the problem. These celebrities just need to shut the hell up about the vaccine. I'm so serious because they don't have credibility on this subject and they're not even good at marketing it, okay? I.e. Chris Rock in the statements that he made, right? If you really want to encourage people to take the vaccine, celebrities and these people in the media who was basically being anti-vaxxers and vaccine hesitant last year under Trump, they need to just stop talking about it because you don't have credibility, right? You don't have any credibility. So they need to stop talking about it. And in general, what needs to happen is the numbers should speak for themselves and just allow people to make their own decisions. That's what needs to happen. Because a lot of the skepticism is coming from the fact that a lot of people feel like it's being pressured. It's being pushed on people, right? That's where a lot of skepticism is coming from. So maybe if you take off some of that pressure and you say, listen, guys, we encourage you to get it. Here are the numbers. Do what you want to do. And eventually some people will come around because they'll be like, okay, the pressure's not there anymore. They're not pushing it down my throat anymore. So therefore I feel more comfortable with the decision that I'm making. Okay. And obviously there are going to be some people that's just going to, go to their grave saying, you know what, I'm not doing it. Right. Just like when it comes to smoking, there's some people that like, I'm just going to smoke. I don't care. Or there's some people that's gonna say, hey, I'm just gonna do drugs. I don't care, right? That's just how it is. That's how it is. But in my opinion, celebrities need to shut the hell up, right? Especially those who were saying the opposite of what they were saying just a year ago today, right? They need to shut up. And again, there just needs to be less political pressure around this whole thing, okay? It's there. Everybody knows it's there. Hey, talk to your doctor. Make the best decision for you. That's how you get people to feel more comfortable, okay? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.